doesn't hurt. Fully dressed. Feel fully dressed. Huh? Warm as meeting. Yeah, he said
That would be a little
Stop clock up there. 3 minutes.
Can you sit it? Can you just
Township, you were sitting up in the morning. I see your camera set up and I thought.
You sit there for a minute.
It's like, why are they setting up there? Yeah, everybody got clocks they're gonna see. I said, I know that. So my mom said. Send me a text. I said, well, that's a good way to turn on TV.
Excuse me, excuse me.
Oh, pardon me.
Call the meeting of the Sewickley Township Board of Supervisors to order. Start with the President. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Security cameras were installed in the meeting room for visual recordings and to be used for security purposes only. Members of the public could be recording this meeting. Executive sessions were held on May 22nd, 2024 with Solicitor Wheeler to discuss the Meadowcrest development hearing, and on May 28th following the agenda meeting for personnel issues. We also had an agenda meeting or executive session tonight with our attorney for personnel matters and for legal advice on Meadowcrest. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Minutes, May 7th, 2024, regular meeting. We'll take action on that.
I have a comment about the meeting minutes. Line number 12, the board stated we'd like the supervisors to look into the local tax rebate for the township firefighters. And I think that that's a good idea. I like that. And while we're under the hood, looking into all the nuts and bolts to that, I'd like to see if we can do a tax rebate for seniors who own property in the township. At least 10 years, 15 years, sort of play with it.
So there's not a correction.
This is not a correction,
Okay.
it's just a comment.
No, but we're looking into any of that. should look into.
So I actually have already drafted you guys, kind of a synopsis of the firefighter tax incentive ordinances. There's different ways you can do it. It can be an income tax or property tax. And I provided some materials for you guys to review, and there's like just different ways to implement it. You can create your own scale of things. So that's available for consideration, and I can definitely look into a similar program for senior citizens.
You know, the property owners.
I think we ought to set a workshop meeting for it, because there's a lot of discussion needs to go into that. So, you know, one of our
Yeah.
upcoming workshops, we need to sit down and discuss it.
We can combine the two together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a note of that, Ron. Schedule at some point. A lot of fire department issues recently. Any other comments on the minutes? Any motion,
I move to approve the May 7th, 2024 meeting minutes as submitted.
Motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve.
Yes.
Doug. Mike. Yes. Fritz. Mark.
Yes. For bills, general stormwater funds, May 8th through June 4th, 2024, to be paid. Take action on that.
I move to approve paying the bills from the general and stormwater funds as submitted and sign the checks following the meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve.
Yes.
Doug. Yes. Mike.
Yes.
Fritz. Mark.
Yes. Next is our public comments. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. And you must be a resident of New Sewickley Township or a current taxpayer of New Sewickley. Any public comments? Patty?
Patty Gerhardt from Danbury Farms. I want to thank Board of Supervisors for the roads for Danbury Farms. As you know, they were gorgeous. Everybody can't stop smiling. They're so happy to have them done. And I know there was dissent about it, but I thank you very much for doing it. And I'd also like to address a comment that was made last week at the agenda meeting. One of the residents stood up and she was opposed to Meadowcrest and made the comment about New Sewickley being a rural community. Well, I dare anybody to come into Danbury Farms and compare how Danbury Farms looks to some of the places on Miller Road. Because some of the places on Miller Road, I would not want to be their neighbor. Thank you very much, and thank you again, RJ, for everything you did.
I'm Linda Dengel. I'm a resident of New Sewickley Township, and Hetty, I appreciate that you noticed that part of New Sewickley is not a rural residential, and that it's perfect to be put on Freedom Road where there's complete access to public utilities and a PennDOT highway. I, however, happen to live on a rural residential road that doesn't have lines, nor do we have pavement on our road, and I would like the supervisors to then consider to remain a rural residential area to keep the agricultural district where it belongs in the agricultural. So I'd like you all to think about saving New Sewickley's rural residential. I think it's appropriate to have housing development, residential housing development, and even maybe like Danbury Farms on roads where there is public access to the highways, to the sewer and water, but New Sewickley on Klein Road isn't it. So I'd like you all to think about that. Think about the future, about the farms that we want to preserve. Mr. Bonzo, Mr. Martin, Mr. Spade, I know you all have farms, and Doug, I know you're a century farmer there on the Graham farm. Martin, I'm not sure if you're a century farmer, but you're just about. And New Sewickley is a rural community, and we like to keep the atmosphere of that. And maintain the, if you want, development, the commercial department, where that would be on PennDOT roads as opposed to the rural roads. Thank you. I'd really like you to consider saying no to Meadowcrest at this time. Thank you.
Greg?
Greg House, Sewickley Township, taxpayer residents. Like I say, I know you guys, everybody knows I was on the board for a long time, even when this Meadowcrest started. People realize what it takes to run this township financially. 12 years I was on the board, we never raised the property tax. Never. Now, without this development, grants, gas and oil well money coming in, the township's not going to survive. You need growth to pay these taxes, to pay to run the township. And this is the only way you're going to get it, is by having future development. It's the only way possible. That's my 2 cents.
Charlie Velosky, New Sewickley Township resident. Everyone needs to tighten their belt, like we all did. The Meadowcrest, it can happen, but it needs to be scaled down big time. Thank you.
Bob City, Rose Lane. You guys can't let this happen, man, not at this scale. It's out of control. It breaks all of our rights. I mean, I don't know one person, and you, I don't know, guy, you're a grown man. Mr. Dingle, you feel beautiful. I wish I could be as kind as you. I don't know if you guys can sleep at night, but none of us can. I don't know one person that's for this. It's a shock. I didn't know this was going on for years. I thought you guys were taking care of us. I didn't know you were selling us out. That's what you're doing. You think these guys? Why do these guys want to put so many units in so less of acreage? Because they're land predators. That's what they are. They're land predators, dude. They don't give a shit about us. They don't care. They don't care. It's all about the money. This is our property. This is our land. This is ours. If you don't stop them now, they can't be stopped. It's just a runaway train, and they won't stop. It's up to you guys. 5. Slow it down, stop it, do something. I mean, we're here talking, everybody's talking. Do you guys care? Do you care? That's good. That's good. Seriously. But I'm talking to elder neighbors, and they're gone. I mean, they're just like, they're gone. Their souls are ripped. I don't know. I'd like to say a lot of things, but I can't. I don't know what's right and what's wrong here. Who started this? I mean, who can buy 70 acres and say, we're going to do 230? It's not even called houses anymore. It's called units. 230 units. Put 230 units on 70 acres. I told you, last time I was here, I told you that people were going to die on Hoffman and Trump. Yeah, they will. They fly. Does any one of you drive the whole Hoffman and the whole kind? Do you? No? That's crazy, dude. I mean, you should get in your car and you should drive the road and see what we're talking about. I don't know. I say vote no and start over. That's what I say. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Karen Velosky. I live on 426 Pine Road. I am concerned because there seems to be, this was like a quiet, in my opinion, kind of a quiet way to handle this PRD. It doesn't seem like there was enough discussion and engagement with the community at large, except for the April 24th meeting, where we could, a lot of us came together and were able to air our grievances and our dislike about it. And I think it's just quite disheartening for the board to possibly move forward with this without really, hopefully you will consider everybody's issue with this. As this gentleman behind me, Mr. Rose, Bob from Rose Lane, said that this is going to cause increased traffic on both Hoffman and Klein Road, which, as we know, there are sharp curves on those roads. There are blind curves on those roads. There is a hill in the middle of the development. And I'm not really sure if, as Meadowcrest had said in a previous meeting, we can't afford this. Our is the community safety actually being taken into consideration? Are the two quote-unquote signs that were negotiated to say that, you know, however they're going to say, whether it's going to say sharp curves or it's going to say, you know, please reduce your speed or whatever, are those going to be enough to actually prevent any type of, gosh forbid, accident happening? And then also, I guess just in the New Sewickley Township and the Beaver County Comprehensive Plans, it doesn't say anything about, it's more, this area on Kleinman Hoffman Road is more for rural area with, that does not have, as Mrs. Dangle said, does not have existing infrastructure with the increased road safety, the water, the sewage, etc. So I would like you to take that into consideration as well, because the sewage plant, or excuse me, the wastewater plant is going to come directly onto my property, which I am concerned about erosion and exactly what all that's going to do to my property. So I would really just like you to really think very hard and do some soul searching. Are you making the right decision for this community? Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
John Kretschmann, City Road. I am just a simple farmer. I've been a farmer for my whole life. And so I get a lot of time to think out there doing things like plowing, just preparing fields. It's just time to think. And sometimes we miss what's most important. And I look at land as being providing us with food. Now I know that's the prejudice of my calling as a farmer, but think about that blue orb from one of the Apollo missions looking back. We are up to now the only planet that we know that has life. And what supports life? We need both the life itself, but the food to support life. Now, there are statistics out there, you can look them up yourself, but thousands, hundreds of thousands of acres of American farmland every single year is taken out of production and put into housing development, parking lots, roads, you name it. And at some point, you have to realize what that does to that beautiful blue orb's capacities to support life. Now here we have, again, a large tract of land, most of which would be perfectly good farmland. Some of it probably isn't. I have a little bit of mixed feelings about this because I feel there is the need for housing, but there's also the need to produce food. And this particular site, in a way, is ideal because it joins already existing housing and so therefore has less impact. But it seems like we can all be a little bit more creative, and I call on the developers themselves to be a little more creative. To me, this is a cookie cutter plan that could be in Kansas City and Houston and Atlanta, anywhere in the country. And it could be on any type of land in the country. Now this particular property, you would think, has the capacity to do both. It could both be a relatively high density housing area as well as providing food. So why can't we do both? And I think that both the township needs to look at other models and developers need to look at other models. They are out there, believe me, they are. There are communities who have done both. So, you know, it's not like an either or here. We can do both. And I would call on the supervisors to look into those possibilities that allow us to provide for both ways.
My name is Don Wolf. I live up the street from Mike there. With all due respect to Greg, the more people you bring into this community, the more wear and tear on the roads and everything else. So it's going to cost more for more people. So then you'll want to do something else or bring more people in so you can get more money to keep it all going. And it's just going to go all to hell. This is a great place because it is rural. It truly is a great place. I hope you don't have any more
housing me myself. None. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Pam Salvers, Sewickley Township. Meadowcrest sounds to me more like a description for a pound of butter that you'd buy in a store from a family-owned farm. Meadowcrest does not sound like a name for 217 residential units. How many residents of New Sewickley said to you as the board, please build us a huge development in our rural township? Not many, I believe. Who has that kind of money to buy into the development? Why would they want to? I believe the people who want to come to New Sewickley want to build on their own plot of land, inherit family property, or move into an existing house. How can you support the farmers' kids riding their tractors to the last day of school and then propose a development that replaces farms? From your fall 2023 newsletter, and I quote, it is our pleasure to serve as your elected officials, New Sewickley Township. Means a great deal to all of us, and we want the best for all, in capital letters, of our residents. Thank you for your continued support, unquote. I believe many of our ancestors are turning in their graves right now. My grandparents scrimped and saved to buy our farm, land where I grew up on. We love this land and what it represents to us. If you were to build single-family dwelling homes that people can grow a garden, maybe some fruit trees, plant flowers in the yard, have at it. This is not what I want to see. This is a shame for our community. As far as Weaver goes, I've seen what they've done firsthand and what a mess that's left behind. And who suffers? The residents and taxpayers left behind. Why were there several eliminated catch basins from the original plans for Seneca Ridge, and there is a catch basin installed on the base of the hillside only 6 feet from neighbor's property line? Yet you claim there isn't any runoff from the hillside, or what they claim anyways, to their property. And HOA, it is rumored, from Scenic Ridge is in a lawsuit with them. If this is so wonderful for all the residents of New Sewickley, who will be left to hold the bag after this is done? Is it what we also have to look forward to in the future? Also, how many developers are going to piggyback off of this development? Where will this end, and is this the new future of New Sewickley Township? I pray not. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you all for your comments. Comments on our MS4 program? Treasurer's report, you all should have a copy of the current treasurer's report for your information. Number B, Meadowcrest Development Tentative Plan Approval. Take action.
I have a comment. The testimony from the people's expert witness is convincing, particularly with respect to the allowable number of houses for this PRD. The PRD document indicates that all other provisions of the zoning ordinance shall be applicable to the development under this article. The PRD is silent with respect to the area and dimensional requirements for lots. Thus, the underlying zoning district requirements shall be applied to the PRD. The underlying zoning district is RA, which includes specific lot sizes, setback requirements, and maximum coverage percentages. These area and dimensional requirements should be applied to the PRD. Accordingly, I agree with the calculations made by the people's expert witness that a maximum number of single-family homes for this PRD should be 160 homes. Thus, I motion to grant tentative approval with at least the following conditions. The engineer's comments need to be addressed and resolved, and the PRD needs to be modified to include no more than 160 homes to follow the lot and dimensional requirements table of the RA zone.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mike,
No.
Fritz, Mark.
No.
All right, after about 3 years of work and study, and based on the advice of our planning commission, engineers, solicitor, and zoning officer, I make a motion to grant tentative approval to the proposed planned residential development of Meadowcrest LP, subject to the conditions to be outlined by the township solicitor and engineers.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
I really have a concern, guys, that we hear from our residents and understand that we may be in a position we can't do much at this point. I think we need to look to the future and reevaluate, but ask the planning commission, we sit down and talk to some of us, because I'm concerned that we have the sentiment that we have, we need to listen to it.
Any additional comments? Roll call. Roll call.
Steve,
No.
Doug, Mike,
Yes.
Fritz, Mark.
Yes. Motion passes. Next is our closed offices on July 5th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to close the office on July 5th with the staff taking personal time off.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Fritz, Mark.
Yes. Public safety, police monthly report. Chief, anything you want to make aware of? I didn't see a report yet.
Last week at the meeting, we discussed some issues with the intersection of 1 Eden Road and around 68. Since that time, RJ's taken it upon himself to go down there and weed because the tractors aren't functioning properly. By hand. He also took some of the guys down there and trimmed back a lot of the branches to increase sight distance from all 4 directions of that intersection. Just wanted to make the board aware that he really did go above and beyond what he had to do. It's a PennDOT intersection. It's not even our responsibility, but he really took it to heart, took the safety of the township to heart, went down there. Just wanted to make you aware.
Thank you, RJ. Above and beyond.
Thank you, Barry. With all of us guys, so you guys said that we wanted to do something about it, and police came down and helped us, and we did. So,
Much appreciated. Any amount of safety we can save down here really helps. Did hear you're still after school buses, so keep up the good work on that. You know, it's unbelievable to me that people run past school buses. They're still doing it.
I have reached out to PennDOT to work on some projects over the summer to try and get that addressed for the beginning of school next year. We have 2.5 days of school left. Try and get some things in the works over summer, educate the public on the issue.
Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for all you do. Make sure you thank your officers for us too, because those are our little ones out there.
I will. Thank you.
Next is our approved resolution number 1024, an agreement with Rochester Borough for special events. Take action.
I have a question.
Sure.
I bet there is, did I miss it? What is the end date on this?
For,
When this was presented, this is really, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, this is because of the Beaver boom and the fact that they're closing that bridge.
Correct.
And so once that bridge is back open, everything, this ends?
so it is, as far as I understand it, just kind of as special events or traffic, details arise.
You're saying perpetuity.
Except for there is the ability of either party determining with written notice to the other.
Because when it first came up, it really kind of centered around those two happenings, really, where they were stretched. Temporary situation, we're there to help out. And I read this, but I didn't see the end date, which says, we've been in this forever today now. I just questioned that whether there was not supposed to be an end date.
So, no, it's not untypical for these types of agreements not to have like a specific end date because they're event specific. So if you were gonna enter into a contract for like day-to-day services, like maybe we were gonna be like their police department or something, that would for
That's
sure.
what I'm worried, this isn't gonna become day to day.
This is not day-to-day. This is only for special events and traffic details, and it's up to our chief to determine whether or not we have the bandwidth to provide detail for those before we go over there.
Okay, it was just a misunderstanding, because again, when it came up, I was thinking from now through August, when the bridge opens, contract's done, tear it up, we'll move on. But then this seems like it's gonna go on forever, and I don't wanna see our police stretched thin.
No.
I don't
Oh, and
wanna
that's the whole, if we don't have manpower, we're not gonna.
Well, but I'm saying though, at least if we run this through August, and if you wanna renew it, but if we run it through August, and then if it works out, we renew it, if it doesn't work out, we stop. That's, again, I'm looking out for our police and our people, our station.
No, that's accurate. We can, at the end of the year, reevaluate whether or not we want to continue on with those services. You just have to provide written notice to Rochester Borough that we'd be reconsidering that. But
Does that seem fair enough, Chief? Sure. I think that's probably, I would feel more comfortable that we have their feedback at some point to say, no, we're not doing this, 'cause I don't wanna commit them, and now we're stuck forever today.
yeah, so my concern was more related to rates, making sure that the rates rise as like inflation rises and things like that. So that's what I had imagined, is that it would be reevaluated as needed.
It is voluntary, they're not assigned. Until the chief says.
No, I get that, but again, I, in my own mind, I had a picture that's just too obvious. I look at this and there's no, boy, it's permanent forever.
Somebody sends written notice.
That's why I went to chief. If this turns out to be a real block, it's not.
We don't, that's for sure. Thanks. All right, we're still on that amendment. We need a motion.
I move to approve resolution 1024, agreement with Rochester Borough for special events.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Fritz, Mark.
Yes. Fire departments, monthly reports, you guys should have got at least a partial report in your emails, I guess. Anybody here from the fire departments? Jim?
Our financial summary's been submitted for the month. Calls for service report for Pine Run, month of May. 34 QRS calls, which are medical response calls, 4 structure fires, 2 fire alarm activation, 1 crash without injuries, 2 crashes with entrapment, 3 crashes with injuries, 1 odor of gas, 1 traffic control, 1 vehicle fire, 2 tree and wires down, 1 search detail for a total of 52 calls for the month of May. I want to provide just a little update on the status of the merger. We've exchanged some correspondence through our attorney with State Attorney General Mazzacca. He wanted a confirmation that if the merger is approved, the surviving entity will be covering all the primary response zones currently served by Pine Run and Big Knob. We provided that confirmation, and they requested 3 years of 990 tax returns from each department, and those have been also provided. So our submission is currently under review and hopefully moving forward.
Thanks, Jim.
I would like to ask a clarifying question. Are any of the QRS responses in conjunction with any of the others? Like, in other words, if you respond to a crash with injuries, does that also count as
They're all-
QRS?
No, they're all separate.
So you have twice as many QRS responses as you have with everything else?
Absolutely.
Well, first off, I commend you guys and I thank you for providing that service, because we all know that the ambulance service is kind of a challenge at the moment, and we're kind of isolated in the township. But I really, that number is kind of, it punches out there, say 35 of those, and 16 or
seems like a lot more demand for you guys on QRS than almost anything else.
They go on the police codes.
Thanks.
Number one, their calls.
Say it.
Police, yeah. Okay. Anybody for Big Mom? The only one here, Jim?
Yes.
Road Department had a big month. We've back to RJ, and thanks for doing that intersection down there. We want to get into all the technicalities, but again, thanks for a great job over at Danbury Farm. It's been a huge chunk of township money. So it's been debated for a long time and questioned and all that. It's going down and it looks great. Residents of Danbury appreciate it. How much more of that we can take? We gotta save up for a while again. Thanks for a great job.
It was much needed and turned out great.
It'll last another 35 or 40 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Engineering, I see we got a new report here on the 31st. Anything update us on engineering?
Nothing additional.
Additional? Solicitor, worked here quite a bit.
So I submitted my privilege report to you all on my sort of day-to-day activities earlier this afternoon. I'm available to discuss any items on that in greater detail. But I did want to follow up with the agenda meeting last week, Ms. Stengel. First of all, am I saying your last name correctly? You had requested that I look into oral argument being available to the public in the Verizon land use appeal, and I just wanted to let you know I have called the judge's chambers and left a voicemail. I haven't heard back yet, but I'm expecting to hear from them tomorrow. Would you mind if I emailed you or had Ron or Lori email you with that information once I get it?
That would be fine, or if they could put it on the website for everybody to access, that would be.
Or the Facebook or something like that. Sure, that's fine. So that's July 3rd also. I'll just let you know if they're going to open up the courtroom. But that's the only update that I have.
Good, thank you. Tim, for all your hard work.
Can I ask a question? In regards to the Meadowcrest, do you know when the written justifications and explanations will be available from the board for their decision?
Yeah, let me just pull up my calendar really quick because I actually have the date. So the deadline for them would be no later than the 24th of this month. I expect to get it out before then, and you guys will get a copy in the mail or via email. And so we'll, all of your family members that were represented.
From the township?
It'll probably come from Lori, I would but no later than the 24th.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Do you have any update from DMS?
So I don't have an update from them from the last month's meeting where they said 6 to 8 weeks for the implementation of the mufflers on the vacuum system. Sorry, not months, weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for the implementation of the mufflers. So I'm expecting to hear from you all guys about that at the end of the month if you're noticing any difference. I'm of course going to check in with their attorney, but I want to know if you guys are noticing there being a change. And if not, we can continue working with them. But so I haven't heard an update, just waiting to hear from, or not hear from, their vacuum system.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Planning. Any updates from our planners?
Good, good,
No,
Seems to be
no
passing the
updates.
buck.
No updates, we just did education last month.
Recreation, Rick Board.
We have a flea market coming up June 8th, it just rained out back in May. It'll be June 8th from 8 to 1. Barbie night movie got rained out, we have to reschedule, we have to let everybody know a date on that. We had El Dorado over the weekend there first. Good crowd there that night, the weather was perfect, it was a great event. Coming up, we got Troll Band Together movie night on June 14th. And then a bunch of different things I put in the report. Skywalker camps will be coming up, so they'll be there during the week. Free baseball tournaments, 28th and 29th. There'll be more around there that weekend. Pittsburgh Power Tournament is July 5th through the 7th. I know that's after next meeting, but we're going to put it out there to remind everybody. It'll be a busy weekend down there for that. Grass is growing like mad. Robbie's doing a good job. We're getting lots of positive feedback on
down there, everybody saying the park looks really good. Last week with the flag boy, cleaned up the mulch, started staining the dogger ball pits, started installing cell phone chargers. More kudos to RJ and the road crew, they went down and, removed a piece of broken equipment from the playground. So it's good to save for all the kids there and appreciate them doing that. Next recreation board meeting is Monday, June 10th, 6:30 at Shelter Creek Park. Everybody's welcome to that.
Thanks, Mike. Tell Robbie he's doing a great job. I've noticed it always looks good down there. I don't think I've had any bad comments down there for a lot of ball games. Park looks great.
Chairman, just want to make sure that they really get recognized this week. They put a lot of their own time in down at the park, and also the road department. They loaded, shipped mulch down there for the rec board to put down at the grounds all week. Right, to make sure he went to Home Depot, got the stain for the goggle pits. They spent all their own time getting that stain on there, so they put a lot of time in that park this week. I appreciate what you do down there. If I get a job assigned, you got to take it and go, man. So,
Doing a good job. Tell everybody down there thanks.
Thank you.
It's noticed.
and you had, what, 250 people at the concert on Friday?
I'm not good at numbers, there were several hundred people. That was the biggest.
Had that playground thing damaged. Did you look into, have any luck looking into what that's gonna cost, our insurance can pay for it?
So it was $2,500 deductible. So the next stage we have to do, if you're gonna replace that, that was a very old piece of equipment.
It was brand new, wasn't it?
Yeah. 30, 40 years old, and sometimes they're not feasible to go back in because of injuries. So our insurance company will probably be proud to replace that piece.
The idea how it just failed just from stress or?
I think over 30 years with the sun beating on a piece of plastic, it just came brittle and cracked. So I wasn't there what happened, but I don't think it was vandalized because there would have been more vandalism. I think it just failed.
And in conversation with Ronnie's looking into maybe a pickleball court net, basketball court down there. Can you describe that a little bit?
So RJ and I went on a field trip. We were trying to get free cabinets out of Catholic Church in Economy. They were closing. So we went over there and we didn't have any success on that. But we came past the Economy Boroughs Park. It's a recreation park. That was an area where I grew up. So I remember there were basketball courts there and there were people playing pickleball on it. I'm like, well, that was very interesting. So we stopped there, took a look, and hey, they just painted the asphalt there. So we came back, did some research on the internet, and Margie went down with Robert, measured out our basketball court down there. So it will fit sideways on there. We can maybe fit one court on there. So I'm going to try to economically figure out how to get it painted. There's a movable net that we can get off the internet. It's $99. So see if we can get a pickleball court for less than $1,000.
I think we have it at
That's even better.
That's even better. Good. That's why I bring it up. The ideas.
Yeah, so I wanted to speak to them on Monday and I had a board meeting to see if they would want to do that. There's somebody that does painting in the community, so if she can handle something like that, I'll see what she charges.
Do a test plot on one and could leave more.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's pretty popular, I guess.
Yeah, it beats $95,000.
Yeah, absolutely does. All right, building codes. See, I've never seen it. We've read so much stuff.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. I think it was mostly, solar.
So Owen, he's here tonight. He's been very busy in the spring hustle and bustle with additions, swimming pools, and solar.
Yeah, lots of solar. Same everywhere.
For some reason, generators on the Joshua Park. I don't know what's going on over there, but there were those generators.
Everybody's roof is getting solar. Oh, and since you're back here, we don't see you very often. We want to thank you for all your efforts for these last several years. You're always in the background. You don't get enough recognition, but we appreciate your efforts. reports, digging into this stuff, make sure we thank them on a continuing basis, but thank you to get us to this point. So appreciate all your board comments. Any further board comments?
I'd like to say a few words. I think most of you folks that are still here realize that we often have some very, very difficult decisions to make. And we've got to weigh out a ton of information. I mean, there's stacks of, having lived here all my life, and then there's several people that recognize that, you know, I'm the fourth generation on my and I have to look back and say, you know, when my grandfather or my great grandfather moved in, they probably weren't real happy with seeing people moving in around them. But it happened at a natural and organic pace, and I've always kind of favored that. I'm not against growth. I'm not against this development. I've kind of figured all the way along, and I've always said, what you want to do with your land ought to be your right. We have to have some rules, and we have to have some restrictions, because we can't let people infringe on their neighbors. That's the other side of that equation. Personally, I feel while I have to protect the rights of that person who wants to sell their land and the person who buys it to develop it, I'm also responsible for the rest of it. I take that seriously. Just what you guys can understand is when we go through this, it's never as simple as it may seem with the yes and a no. There's lots behind it. There's reasons why any of us vote the way we do. We have very, very different perspectives on things. All I can say is each one of us votes our conscience. I felt that maybe what you guys were saying was probably reasonable. I didn't hear a lot of people saying stop it. I heard a lot of people saying scale it back. And I would be in favor of that. I can support that because I think it's kind of what Sewickley needs to look like and the way it needs to grow. It needs to be sensible. I just felt that what I heard was compelling. What evidence that we presented was compelling. I had to factor that in my decision. Everybody else had their own reasons. But you can't take it as a simple yes and a no. It's not that simple. There's other factors that every one of us have considered and weighed differently. I weigh kind of in favor of preserving the land. It's because of my heritage. Just so you all understand, I hear what you people are saying. I feel I would not want this beside me. I want to see my neighbors with binoculars. That's just me. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Additional comments? Okay, motion for adjournment? So moved. Second? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Thank you for coming. Oh, yeah. Do you know if anyone wants to talk about it?